G'day there guys, I want to say that you look damn fine today, and I hope your day is looking even damn finer. Back at it again with another episode of r/AmiTheA. Now if you love me like I love you, I want you to sit back, relax, chunk a prawn on the barbie, a like on the video, and enjoy today's bloody good content. Posted by user Son of a Peach. Titled, Am I the a-hole for ruining game night by telling the truth? A few nights ago, I hosted a game night for a small group of friends. We had all been quarantining and following the proper guidelines in my country. It was only going to be 5 of us, including me, but one of my friends texted me last minute that she was going to bring a coworker from work, Matt, which is a fake name, which is fine with me. We started by playing a card game where you answer questions about yourself based on the levels 1, 2, 3. The question could be extremely surface level, like what's your favorite color, to something deeper. For example, what characteristic of yourself do you not like about yourself? Everyone was enjoying themselves, and I was happy with the way things were going. Cue a question that I drew. What's the hardest thing you've ever had to go through? Now, for some backstory, my sister passed away a few years ago when I was still in high school. I was pulled out of class and flew immediately to her college and watched her die in the ICU. Needless to say, this is probably the hardest thing I've ever been through. 3 of my friends in the group knew about this, the other 2 and Matt did not. I didn't want to bring the mood down, so I answered that the hardest thing I'd been through was transitioning to a college in a different state where I knew no one. We were all ready to move on, but Matt immediately piped up and said, "Wow, if that's the hardest thing you've ever been through, you live an extremely privileged life." Everyone got quiet. Now, if he had said it jokingly, I probably would have let it go and moved on. However, the way he said it was in a very condescending and patronizing tone, and I will admit, it rubbed me the wrong way. Instead of letting it go, I said, "Well, the hardest thing I've ever been through is seeing my sister die in the ICU and having to watch her being lowered into her grave when I was 17. I just didn't want to bring the mood down." If things were quiet before, they were dead silent now. Matt mumbled an apology, but game night ended shortly after. After my friends all left, my friend who had brought Matt texted me and told me I was a jerk for making Matt look bad, and I could have just let his statement go. I do feel bad about what I said and being the cause of game night ending so soon, but I also feel like I was just making a justified statement. Am I the a-hole? No. Matt piped up. Matt wasn't saying it in a joking way. Matt was making you look bad. You gave him your actual answer, and you knew that it would bring the mood down, and you knew that he didn't know, but that's no excuse for him to have started that in the first place. It's games night. It's aha, we're having fun, not, oh my god, you're so lucky and privileged that you didn't have anything to go through in your life. Shut up, Matt. You only have yourself to blame for this, not the a-hole. Matt made Matt look bad. There seems to be a trend today of social circles and families wanting to protect the peace by having someone else acquiesce to the actual a-hole in the situation. Matt should have minded his tongue, but chose to be a jerk instead. He got what was coming. That's not a today trend, lol. That's been a trend since civilization. Not to mention, he was not initially part of this, but OP was nice enough to welcome him into it, probably knowing very little about him. What Matt did was unnecessary and unjustifiable. Yep, invited a stranger and he turns around and acts condescending. Plus, people like Matt make these kinds of games so unfun because you feel like your answers are never good enough. Not the a-hole, Matt was being a jerk and deserved to be heartily embarrassed for it. Maybe he'll think before he opens his mouth a bit more in the future. It doesn't take a genius to realize not everyone is going to feel comfortable answering that question honestly, and I'm so sorry for your loss. Mostly think he was just not thinking before talking, but being a Matt myself, you are not the a-hole, and I'd be very surprised if Matt thought so and wasn't embarrassed and sorry for his comments. I too am a representative from the Council of Matts. Why weren't you at the last meeting, brother? Also, not the a-hole, and Matt is a dick. Posted by user Whole Butterscotch 1. titled, Am I the a-hole for pushing a girl off my lap and making her cry? I, 19 male, just started dating a girl I really like a couple of months ago. I was hanging out with my friend who I will call Joe, who is also 19 and has a crush on this girl Sarah, 18 female. Anyway, we were all hanging out and there were no more seats in the car, so I suggested she sit on Joe's lap, but she chose to sit on mine, so I put a jacket on my lap so she wasn't directly on me. I felt really uncomfortable because she just sat her bony ass on me and I have a girlfriend who she knows I have. Anyway, when we stopped to get gas, I made her sit on my friend's lap instead, and she started to full on cry because I didn't want her to sit on me and I had to put on a jacket. I felt awkward and bad for my friend who likes her, and she was just crying on his lap and said that I was a jerk. She ended up texting me saying we have to talk about us, and I said, "What are you talking about, us?" And she said that I was giving her mixed signals because she thought there was something between us. I said, "No, I'm like this with all my friends." And she said I thought you were like that with Joe as a joke because he's just your friend. But me, it's because you like me. And that it made her confused because she knows I have a girlfriend. I said, "Nope, I'm like that with everyone," and told her I'm happy with my girlfriend and I don't want to date her. She called me an a-hole and I haven't seen her since. Her best friend texted me and said I was being an a-hole. I told my girlfriend, 19 female, against my friend's wishes, who are also her friends, not Sarah, but Joe is, and she laughed and said that boys are so oblivious and that she could tell Sarah had a crush on me, but she trusted me to make the right choices. Basically, she didn't really care, just thought Sarah was kind of crappy for trying to go after a guy with a girlfriend. So, am I the a-hole? I legit didn't really know she had a crush on me. It kind of dawned on me that night. I never pursued her. I slept over at her house once because I was too drunk to drive, but I slept on the floor and didn't let her near me. And I would mention my girlfriend a lot because I'm excited about dating her. Apparently, she thought I liked her because she once asked me if I would join her art club, and I said sure. I don't understand girls. I really don't. I'm gonna say no. Obviously, you weren't understanding the signals, but you were giving obvious signals out that you were happy with your girlfriend, you're excited to be with her, that nothing was going to happen. I don't see how saying that you would join the art club is any indication that you want to date her. That's a very odd signal to be getting. She might want to check her antennas. They might be faulty, these ones. You know, the smoke signals, the mating dance, it's just not coming across the right way, is it? OP, not the a-hole. Update. Wow, this blew up. Sarah and Joe ended up hanging out on their own, apparently, and she ended up trashing me, saying I was an a-hole, how she liked me, etc. Joe told me privately that he knew she had a crush on me, but wanted to see what I would do and enjoy the show because he thought the drama was funny. She ended up texting me again and saying how I was a jerk, and basically the friendship imploded. The last thing she said was that she wasn't sorry, and I said, well, I can be sorry for the both of us. Joe still has a crush on her, and I'm sure he's still trying to date her, but that's pretty much it for that. My girlfriend loves all the comments calling her a keeper, and has found the entire situation hilarious. She really is a keeper. Thanks everyone. Not the a-hole. I think this girl doesn't know how to handle rejection. Also, a bit entitled. She cried when she didn't get her way. And she's a legal adult. We are doomed. I'm really impressed by OP's girlfriend. She wasn't jealous, she didn't throw her boyfriend under the bus. She laughed about it and moved on. I have a lot more hope for the girlfriend than I do Sarah the rejected. His girlfriend is definitely a keeper, and OP sounds like he thinks the world of her. There's a good chance that Sarah might grow as a person. I know a lot of people at 18 who were like anxious messes. They've never been told no, or didn't realize how to approach someone in a healthy manner. 5 years later, they are successful and happy members of society. Not the a-hole, and I loved the last paragraph. I really just don't get them, lol. I also don't get why she would just start crying when she knew I had a girlfriend all along. Jeez, she never had a boyfriend, so maybe that's why. I'd like to tell you that it gets less confusing, but coming from a dude who has been married for a long time, it doesn't. I'm a girl, and I still don't understand it. She is either really entitled, or she's acting a lot younger than she actually is. I work with women in their 50s who act like this. Posted by user Jaya56, titled, Am I the a-hole for recreating a secret cookie recipe the person does not give out? My boyfriend's mum makes these amazing cookie bars. She makes them for the holidays and family gatherings, and people always request that she brings them. I asked for the recipe once, and she laughed and said no, that it was hers and she doesn't give it out to anyone. I dropped it and never asked again. I started baking a lot during the pandemic. It's been fun for me in my downtime. I decided with my free time to try to recreate the cookie bars my boyfriend's mom makes. I pulled up recipes that sounded similar from online blogs and started baking and tweaking. It took about 5 recipes in batches, but I finally nailed it down. Her secret recipe ended up essentially being a cookie bar known as a caramelita. I then decided to make it my own and improve it to my tastes. I used higher quality chocolate, made sauce with local homemade caramels, used flaky sea salt on top, vanilla bean paste instead of extract, added a pinch of this fantastic organic cinnamon I had on hand. The results were over the top delicious. My boyfriend declared they are better than his mum's, and he finished off half a pan in 2 days. He was FaceTiming with his mum Saturday and eating one. She asked what it was, and he said, "One of your caramel bars." Joe found a recipe online, but made it even better. She lost it. She started yelling about how awful I was for making her cookies, and how I had no right. He told her that she was overreacting, and quickly ended the call. She started blowing up my phone with nasty texts about what an a-hole I am. I explained to her that I found the recipe I used online where it was very public. I had actually tweaked that to make it more my own, and that I wasn't even planning on bringing them to an event that she's at, so I did not see what the big deal was. She didn't care. She called me names and told me I was wrong for baking a recipe that I knew was similar to hers. She isn't speaking to me or her son. While I don't think my boyfriend should have made the comment about how I made it even better to his mum, taking that out of the equation, she thinks I'm an a-hole for even making them to begin with. I disagree, but from the texts from her and a couple of family members of hers, they think I crossed a line. Am I the a-hole for recreating this recipe? Personally, I don't think you're an a-hole for recreating the recipe. I think the son caused the mum to blow up in this situation, and it made the mum view you as an a-hole. I think him saying one of your caramel bars, as if she had stolen it off the mother. I can see why the mother would think that it is a personal attack. And then on top of that, to be one-upped, where her son then says, "You know, it's better than yours, I'm sorry." OP, you are not the a-hole in this situation, but I do understand why she would view you as an a-hole, and I don't know if it's easy to fix that in her eyes. She doesn't sound like a very forgiving woman, that's speculation, but I would hope that she can forgive you, and you guys can come to a mutual understanding. Not the a-hole. She started yelling about how awful I was for making her cookies, and how I had no right. You shouldn't have posted the recipe online if you didn't want people to know it. Oh, you didn't post it? Then I stole someone else's recipe, not yours. I'm glad we don't have to be mad at each other anymore. She didn't care. Oh, in that case I'm going to post the recipe on Facebook. Thank you. They think I crossed a line. I made cookies. Whatever stupid response. It's cookies. More bullcrap comes. They are cookies. Dear mother-in-law, I have decided that you are absolutely right, and I offer my fullest apologies from the bottom of my heart for attempting to cook something similar to your cookie bars. Please find attached a list of every dish I know how to make. If you make any of these, please cease and desist immediately. As you rightfully pointed out, it is wrong for us to ever try to cook similar dishes. 2 people in the same family should not attempt to cook similar recipes. Please provide me with a list of all the recipes you know, and unless they appear on my list, first come, first serve, then I shall never attempt a recipe similar to those on your list. The cookies are obviously yours. Please do not try to choke on them. Yours do have a tendency to be a little dry. And as I know the recipe for water, tea, coffee, and several other drinks, and we're apparently doing this now, you won't be able to wash them down with any of those. For home consumption, not the a-hole. But if you started bringing her signature dish to family events, etc., yeah, you would be. I think all you can do in this situation is what you've done. In theory, what you do in your own house is your business. And I don't get folks who get bent out of shape over this kind of thing. She told other family members? That's weird to me. However, it doesn't really matter what I think. The fact is, she's ticked, she's hurt, and rightly or wrongly, you're going to need to figure out a way to repair it or let it blow over if you continue to have this strange, irrational woman in your life. Good luck. Can you believe the audacity of my little boy's girlfriend? She made him cookies that I usually make. Yeah, OP is definitely not the a-hole. However, it will still be up to her to fix things, as this woman is definitely irrational and feels slighted. I am legit not sure how OP can fix someone else having an irrationally angry reaction to cookies. She already tried logic. Is she supposed to self-flagellate on a video call? Placating this poor reaction will only show Cookie Rager that yelling, name-calling, and cold-shouldering are all valid means of communication because it gets her what she wants. Presumably, OP crying for forgiveness for making cookies at home. OP is not responsible for her boyfriend's mother's emotional state. His mother is an adult who needs to regulate her own emotions and reactions. If his mother can't be asked to apologize for her severe overreaction, no one else has anything to do. Posted by user Colby1112. Titled, Would I be the a-hole if I cut my boyfriend off financially after he ignored my basic requests? Also posted on the advice subreddit, I'm 26 female, he is 27 male, and we have been together for 8 years. So I was in a bad car wreck a few months ago after getting T-boned by a semi. Because of this, I got a check for almost $19,000 as well as a brand new vehicle. I practically begged my boyfriend multiple times not to tell anyone we received the money because both of our families suck and like to mooch off of us, even though we're the ones struggling financially and we are the only ones who lost our jobs due to COVID. We got laid off within a week of each other and were both denied for unemployment, so it's been rough. I received the check from the accident 3 days ago. He instantly went off and paid $100 to his sister that we owed her, and apparently she asked where he got the money, and despite me telling him not to, he told her I had gotten my check. He instantly told me about it and said that he felt cornered. His sister has that effect on people, so I tried to push it out of my mind, even though I was peeved. Since that point, I've gotten phone calls from all 3 of his brothers, his 2 sisters, and even his uncle who I've never even met, due to him living out of state. All of them were asking for money. I hold true to my restrictions and didn't allow anyone to borrow anything because I know they will not pay me back, and I have more important crap to do with my money. Pay my bills, rent, pay off my car loan and student debt, and put away a big chunk so I can save for a home. The final straw was this morning. I wake up to a call from an unknown number at around 5:30 a.m, and it's his father. He's like, "Hey champ, how you doing? How you recovering?" So I gave him the rundown. Well, before he hangs up he says, "So Julie, my boyfriend's sister, told me you got your money. Peter, his stepson, turns 5 today and I didn't get my paycheck, and I'm fighting with payroll about it. Can you spot me $500? I instantly hung up and confronted my boyfriend about it. I told him my basic requests were ignored and that I felt disrespected and I didn't want people knowing for this exact reason. He told me I was blowing it out of proportion and that I could simply tell them no. I explained that that was beside the point and that I wanted to avoid having to turn people away left and right. He still thinks I'm overreacting. So now I'm at a loss where a part of me wants to cut access to my check from him entirely since he can't even follow basic requests. He's not spending the money on anything like that, especially without asking first. But the fact that he told people after I practically begged him not to sits really heavily on me. A part of me knows that he's right, and that I could just say no, but I don't want to have to do that. Would I be the a-hole if I cut off his access to this money? No, that's just bringing people into your life that don't actually need the money, they just want the money and they're never going to pay it back. He sucks for breaking. He should have had a shinier spine, he should have stood up to his sister, he should have caused a fight with her, he should have been stronger. Anything but to break the promise that he made to you. And he was weak, and he didn't do it, and now you have vultures circling you like money-hungry grubs. Congratulations, boyfriend. Thank you, that was really necessary and needed. We love that. OP, you're not the a-hole. Cut him off. It's your money, not his. And if he just ignores what you want, he doesn't deserve a penny. He also doesn't deserve a girlfriend if he just ignores her when she asks him not to do something. My thoughts exactly. Clearly he either has no idea how to handle money, or he has no idea how to care for another person, or both. Gee, I wonder where he inherited that trait from. Sounds like an inheritant dominant genetic mutation running rampant throughout his family. Exactly. OP is recovering from a car accident. She doesn't need the stress of random strangers asking her for money. Where were these people when she was struggling? Not the a-hole OP, and when his family calls, pass him the phone. He can be the one to tell them no, since it's so simple. This. Make him turn them down. It's his family. Why the hell are they calling you anyways? Especially people you don't know. Posted by user Throwaway Not Parent. Titled, Am I the a-hole for letting my nephew stay with me without his parents' permission? My 22 female sister is a single mum with a teenage son, 16 male. She's a very strict parent, and so were my parents. They don't accept anything less than perfection. Discipline and respect for elders is very important in our family. My nephew is a very polite and introverted kid. What caused this entire situation is something simple. Some of my sister's friends and children came over unexpectedly. Sis demanded nephew interact with him, nephew didn't want to. He didn't know them, he felt awkward. He went into his room and locked his door. Sis called him multiple times, but he did not answer. Sister accused him of humiliating her by acting like a recluse. 2 weeks ago, my sister and mum kicked him out to teach him discipline. They packed his clothes in a bag and threw him out. Their demands were these. 1. They wanted him to apologize for his behavior. 2. They wanted him to apologize to my sister's 3 friends. 3. They wanted him to talk and interact with the family. And 4. They wanted him to be more outgoing and happy. Nephew refused, and they told him to find a better home. At about 12 p.m., this kid knocks on my door, and I listen to him and let him stay with me. It's been 2 weeks now, and I have no problem with him. He's a good kid, he doesn't talk back, he's not messy, he cleans up after himself, he does his chores, and he's very sweet. My mum and sister found out he's been staying with me for these past 2 weeks, and they are now angry with me. They say that I insulted both of them and proved to my nephew that being disrespectful and then not apologizing was okay. They told me that they weren't going to let him starve outside. They would have let him come in once he apologized, and it was a lesson about discipline and the importance of respect. I completely ruined it. I don't have kids. I'm very immature myself. I'm not sure if this is an effective parenting method for a 16-year-old or if it's wrong. I myself grew up in a strict household like I mentioned, and I don't know how I feel about it. I just want someone to clarify. I'm sorry if this is stupid. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. And thank you for clarifying. I understand it was wrong. Edit 2. Guys, I'm 22. My sister is 32. Not the a-hole. As someone who was kicked out at 18, taught nothing about respect or discipline, it screwed my life up and made it 100% harder to do anything. I'm lucky that I had friends to stay with. I would have given anything to have an auntie like you, not to mention how dangerous it is to be young and on the streets. Yeah, this is child abuse, not teaching discipline or respect. Not the a-hole OP. I hope it's not too arrogant to assume they're in the US, as I think the age is 16 when in Europe, or perhaps that's just the age of consent. But can't the sister be charged with neglect? You can't just kick out a minor like that. The age of consent is 16, but you're still a minor until you're 18. This definitely wouldn't fly over here. Completely agree with this. This is abuse, not discipline. Also, they only found out he'd been with you when he'd already been there 2 weeks? 2 fudging weeks, with no clue where he was. Safe? Dead? These people have no place around children. If you haven't already, you should contact whatever the equivalent of child services is in your area, and get some legal advice about protecting him long term, and also get any financial support that you should be getting. I understand from some other posts that in the US states, throwing out a minor is illegal. You are not the a-hole, you are an amazing auntie and person. Good luck. Not the a-hole. Your mother and sister are abusive. Of course, your view is warped having grown up in such a home. Parents need to realize that while they can work to teach their kids morals and being kind and the like, using punishment to shape personality or interests only breeds resentment and toxicity. I'm so glad your nephew had you to come to. Your family are rotten, and he needs to be with someone nurturing. Good luck, OP. Posted by user SomeArtichoke4250. Titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my friend to keep her polyamory crap to herself or leave my home? I know it sounds bad, but context is everything. My friend Emily is staying with my husband and I for a week. She was evicted from her apartment after an incident with her ex-boyfriend, and she had just 2 weeks until a new lease started and nowhere to go, so she's staying in our apartment. One of the house rules I gave her was no visitors and partners. Emily is poly, and she has 5 current partners, and when I told her that none would be able to visit, as I'm an asthmatic and I'm trying to stay safe, there was a lot of complaining. Twice, she compared her experience of me not allowing a visit from her partners to homophobia, which ticked me off because I'm queer and she's straight, and that's a hell of a thing to accuse a queer person of. Well, I ignored her because I feel like it's my house, my rules. In 2 weeks, only 5 days left, she can resume life as normal. Next came the discussions as to why monogamy is morally wrong. These happen almost every night at dinner, but my husband and I have finished a long day of work. We're at our dinner table and have to be lectured by a house guest as to why monogamous relationships define nature, how they're all designed to fail in a pile of cheating and jealousy, and how much more enlightened poly is. I have no problem with poly, but I just see it as a preference, not an inherently better relationship model. We ignored that behavior as well. She broke us last night, however. For some reason I was feeling sweet, probably all the wine I had, and decided to pull out my wedding album. I know, dumb choice to make with Emily there, as I now see it in retrospect. I was looking through the pictures with her, and I pointed out that the ceremony is my favorite because it's just super cute. And she says, yeah, it's cute, but it's kind of a lie to promise a lifetime to someone. It's just not realistic. Well, I blew up. I told her to keep your polyamory crap to yourself, or find somewhere else to sleep for free. I then went to my room, slammed the door, and cried. I haven't spoken to her since. My husband is on my side. He's been sick of the lectures from her, especially considering how often Emily texts us, SOS, bad breakup, let's get drinks. I just can't take the condescension and lectures in my own home. Am I crazy? We are doing her a favor by letting her stay with us, and she's even been eating the meals I cook. Am I being a rude and controlling host? Is she being an ass by forcing her polyamory on you, when she should know that it's not a common thing? Does she have no self-awareness? Why would you say, oh, you shouldn't promise a lifetime to someone, it's just not realistic? Actually get over yourself. You don't say that to a married couple. You should know to be respecting people, Emily. Dear Lord, why would you say that? Lots of marriages do come an end with the death of a partner. That's realistic, and that is promising your life to someone. I don't blame you, OP. I don't think you were being rude or a controlling host. I think you had enough of the condescension and you reacted, as we all would. Not the a-hole. She is a guest in your home. If she cannot abide by your rules and respect you, then she can find another place to crash at until she can go somewhere else. You are indeed doing her a favor, and she should be grateful for that instead of complaining at every turn. This. She's staying for free in someone else's home. If you can't follow a simple rule and not trash your host and her husband's relationship, you are a big a-hole. She's not even just generally spewing her opinions against monogamy either. She's very specifically applied it to OP and called their marriage a lie to their face. Absolutely not acceptable behavior. Not the a-hole, and you have every right to blow up, OP. A lot of us in the poly world view monogamy and polyamory as relationship orientations. For some, it's a choice. But for some, it's as bad as being gay, trying to pretend you're straight. The whole polyamory is more evolved than monogamy is a load of horse crap. She is the worst kind of morally superior poly. People like her make the rest of us look bad. Yes, polyamory and monogamy are different but equal. Sorry on behalf of sane polys, OP. You are definitely not the a-hole. Your house, your rules. Your health should be number one on this person's list of priorities right now. You are doing them a huge kindness, and they are paying you back with total disrespect, both for your health and your relationship. You deserve better friends. Not the a-hole. If you were saying how all poly relationships are bad, and will fail, and are morally wrong, she would have been upset, and rightfully so. So why is it okay when she does it to you? Also, not wanting to be exposed to 5 other people during a pandemic isn't homophobic, it's responsible. I mean, they're all men, so it's not really homophobic to begin with. I guess she was just insinuating that I'm polyphobic. Is that a term? She has decided you're polyphobic so she can be ticked off about it, because you being merely germophobic in a pandemic is totally reasonable. Alright guys, that's where I'm going to end today's video. I really do hope you enjoyed it, and maybe even learned something that you didn't know before. If you haven't already, please do feel free to click that like button, as it really does help me in the YouTube algorithm. And if you haven't already and you loved today's video, please feel free to subscribe. I would love it a lot. Also, big shout out to all my Patreon members and channel subscribers. You guys are all up on the screen right now. I love you. I love your faces. Also, I love seeing you guys all chatting down below in the comments. It brightens my day to see the stories that you guys share and just the kind words you guys always have for my videos, as well as everyone else in the videos. I love you too. But honestly, your ongoing support means the world to me, and I just love it so much that you guys are able to support a career for myself that I invest so much time into. And you guys honestly motivate me to work harder each and every day to put more love into the videos for you guys. If you guys have watched this far in the video and you haven't already subscribed on Patreon or become a channel member, that's cool, you don't have to, but there are links down below. You can donate any amount of money, pledge that any month, cancel whenever. I'm completely cool with it. It's just there for you to support me if you'd like to go the extra mile. And I'll go the extra mile for you guys by putting out new amazing content every single day. With that said guys, I really hope you have a good day, night, sleep, bath, time at work, whatever you're up to today. This has been Markee. I'll see you in the next amazing video. Bye.